The imperial power of the Mughals emerged as the most formidable political power in the Indian subcontinent after the end of Sultanate era. At the peak of their power, they controlled a large part of the subcontinent. Mughal rule in India. Babur, 1526 to 30 CE. Zahiruddin Muhammad Babur was the founder of the Mughal Empire in India. He traced his lineage to Timur on his paternal side and Genghis Khan on his maternal side. At a young age of 11, he succeeded his father to the throne of Fargana, a small principality in Transoxiana. As the ruler of Fargana, Babur was forced to defend his kingdom against foreign invasions. He captured Kabul in 1504 CE. Attracted by tales of India's wealth, he started planning an expedition to India. Babur got this opportunity in 1524 CE when Daulat Khan Lodi, the powerful Afghan governor of Punjab, asked Babur to help him defeat Ibrahim Lodi, the Sultan of Delhi. Babur readily agreed and defeated Ibrahim Lodi in the First Battle of Panipat, fought on 20th April 1526 CE. This victory made Babur the master of central India and led to the founding of the Mughal Empire in the Indian subcontinent. In order to further consolidate his empire, Babur defeated Rana Sanga, the ruler of Mewar, in the Battle of Khanwa in 1527 CE, which helped him establish his control over northern India. His conquest of the forts of Gwalior, Mewat and Dholpur further strengthened his position. He also annexed a large part of Alwar from Hasan Khan Mewati, led a campaign against Medini Rai of Chanderi in Malwa, and the combined forces of the Afghans and the Sultan of Bengal at the river Ghagra. Babur thus strengthened his empire within a period of 4 years. Babur died in 1530 CE. Babur's personality was a great combination of a brilliant military general, an enlightened emperor, a hard taskmaster, a stern disciplinarian, and a man of letters. He was learned in Persian and Arabic. His autobiography, the Tuzuki Babri or Baburnama, written in Turkish language, is considered as one of the classics of world literature. In this book, he described the flora and fauna of India in great detail. He is also credited with having made the gunpowder popular. Babur's concept of the state was based upon the prestige of the monarch, absence of religious bigotry, and encouragement to culture and art. Humayun, 1530 to 40 CE, 1555 to 56 CE. After his death, Babur was succeeded by his son Nasiruddin Muhammad, better known as Humayun. He faced a series of problems after ascending the throne. His father had divided the annexed territories between him and his brothers. Among his brothers, Kamran got Kabul and Kandahar. Askari got Sambhal and Hindal got Alwar and Mewat. Kamran, the most ambitious of all his brothers, never let him live in peace. Moreover, Humayun had to face the hostility of the Afghans led by Sher Shah Suri and Bahadur Shah, the ruler of Gujarat. Though Humayun was initially successful against both of them, Bahadur Shah soon wrested back Gujarat and Malwa. Sher Shah proved to be a more formidable enemy as he defeated Humayun decisively in the battles of Chausa and Kannauj in 1539 CE and 1540 CE respectively. These defeats forced Humayun to flee to Kabul and thereafter Persia, where he took shelter under the Safavid Shah Tahmasp. Sher Shah and the Sur dynasty. Sher Shah Suri, also called Sher Khan, was the son of a small Jagirdar from Jaunpur. His original name was Farid Khan. In his youth, he killed a tiger with his bare hands. He emerged as a strong ruler of Bihar and occupied the throne of Delhi in 1540 by defeating the Mughal Emperor Humayun. Sher Shah ruled a vast territory extending from river Jhelum in the west to river Brahmaputra in the east and the Indus and the Himalayas in the north, excluding Kashmir, Malwa and Rajasthan, to river Narmada in central India. The administrative system was well organized under him. He paid great attention to the growth of trade and commerce, improvement of communication and organization of the army. The welfare of people was one of his prime concerns. More of his reforms reflected this concern. Sher Shah Suri is also credited with having reformed the currency system, making it uniform in nature. He struck the coins called rupiah, made of gold, silver and copper in place of the mixed metal coins. He built an excellent network of roads known as the Grand Trunk Road. The GT Road is still in use both in India and Pakistan. He built sarais throughout his empire for the convenience of travelers and ensured the safety of roads and highways. Administration under Sher Shah. Great as a conqueror that he was, Sher Shah was greater still as a ruler. He was the first Muslim ruler of India who displayed a real aptitude for civil government. He was the first Muslim ruler of India who displayed a real aptitude for civil government. His short rule was marked by many beneficent reforms in every branch of administration. For administrative convenience, Sher Shah divided his whole empire into 47 divisions called sarkars. Sher Shah did not divide his kingdom into provinces. In these were again subdivided into smaller administrative units called parganas. In the field of central administration, Sher Shah followed the Sultanate pattern. There were 4 main central departments, which were as follows. Diwani Wujarat. This department was created to handle financial matters such as collecting taxes and maintaining accounts of the state exchequer. Diwani Arz, headed by Arizi Mamalik. It was a military department. Diwani Incha, working as a secretariat, it issued royal orders. The head of this department was called Dabir. Diwani Rasalat, headed by Sadr. This department dealt with the religious and foreign affairs matter. In foreign affair matters, Diwani Qaza, headed by Qazi. The Qazi looked after judicial administration. There were 2 important officials at the Sarkar level. Shikdar-e-Shikdaran to maintain law and order. Munshifi-Munshifan to supervise the revenue collection. 3 important officials at the Pargana level were Shikdar to maintain law and order, Amin to collect revenue, Munsif to look after judicial matters. Sher Shah's land revenue policy is an important landmark in the history of Indian agrarian system. After a survey of the lands under the supervision of Ahmad Khan according to a uniform system, Sher Shah settled the land revenue directly with the tillers of the soil and fixed the state demand at 1/3 of the gross produce, payable either in cash or kind depending on the productivity of land and crop. For measurement of the land, Sikandari Gaja 32 points was made the base to prevent the tenants from being unduly harassed. Their rights and liabilities were clearly defined in documents known as pattas, title, deeds, and kabuliyat, deed of agreement. Every peasant knew what he had to pay. Sher Shah abolished the system of landlords and middlemen in his revenue administration. His revenue management is compared with the modern Riotwari settlement. Todarmal contributed greatly to the development of the revenue policy of Sher Shah. During the rule of Sher Shah, peasants had also to pay jaribana, survey charge, and muhasilana, tax collection charge. The rates of these charges were 2.5% and 5% respectively. Sher Shah's land revenue system was scientific. Keeping this in mind, Akbar also adopted the same revenue policy, albeit with some amendments. Keep on increasing the efficiency of his army. Sher Shah personally supervised the recruitment of the soldiers and paid them directly. He revived Alauddin Khalji's system of branding the horses, Dag, and keeping a descriptive roll of soldiers, Chehra. Shah introduced a regular postal service. He attempted to fix standard weights and measures. Shah's currency reform was extremely praiseworthy. He issued a large number of silver coins, dam, and abolished all old and mixed metal currency. His silver rupiah, after elimination of its inscription, was current till 1835 and formed the basis of the later British Indian currency. He promoted the cause of trade and commerce by reducing the number of the customs duty collection points to just 2. Goods produced in Bengal or imported from outside had to pay customs at Sikri Gully, at the border of Bengal and Bihar, while goods from West and Central Asia paid customs duty at the Indus. Shah improved communications by building roads. 4 important roads constructed by him were as follows. 1. Grand Trunk Road from Sonargaon to Peshawar. 2. Road from Agra to Multan via Burhanpur and Delhi. 3. Road from Multan to Lahore. And 4. Road from Mandu to Agra. Of these 4 roads, the first was the most important. The roads built by Shah are called the arteries of the empire. The roads were lined with trees, wells and rest houses. Shah was also a great builder. The stately mausoleum, which he built for himself at Sasaram, is one of the finest in India. It is considered as a culmination of the Sultanate architecture and a starting point for the Mughal architecture that developed later. The old fort, Purana Killa in Delhi, is another important architectural creation that belonged to the period of Shah, but the Afghan resurgence was short. Mughal rule in India, second phase, Akbar, 1556 to 1605 CE. Shah Suri lost his life accidentally in 1545. His successors were unable to sustain his empire. Taking advantage of this situation, Humayun recaptured Delhi and Agra in 1555 and re-established the Mughal rule in India. Humayun died in 1556 due to injuries sustained after his fall from the stairs of his library. After Humayun's death in 1556, his 13-year-old son Akbar was crowned king with Bairam Khan as regent. Akbar was born in 1542 at Amarkot when Humayun was in exile. His accession to the throne gave Hemu, the general of the Afghan leader Adil Shah Sur, an opportunity to occupy Delhi and Agra. He assumed the title of Vikramaditya and became the master of Delhi for a short period. However, he was eventually defeated and killed by Bairam Khan in the Second Battle of Panipat in 1556 CE. Thus, the Mughals reoccupied Delhi and Agra. Akbar freed himself from Bairam Khan's guardianship and took the reins of the government in his own hands in 1560. Deprived of power, Bairam Khan was killed by an Afghan on his way to Mecca. After resolving internal issues, Akbar turned his attention towards territorial expansion of the empire. Conquests. Soon, Akbar extended his control over Malwa, 1561 CE, Narmada Valley and the northern regions of present-day Madhya Pradesh, Jaunpur, Gujarat, Bengal, Ajmer, Ranthambore, Jodhpur, Bikaner and Jaisalmer. In 1572, he occupied Ahmedabad and Surat. The conquest of Gujarat paved the way for the Mughals to gain control over maritime trade and commerce. The defeat of the Afghan ruler Daud Khan in 1576 in the Battle of Rajmahal brought Bengal under Mughal control. By 1600-01, Ahmednagar, Khandesh and Berar in the Deccan were occupied. The Mughal Empire under Akbar extended from the Himalayas in the north to the Godavari River in the south and the Hindu Kush Mountains in the northwest to the river Brahmaputra in the east. Relationship with the Rajputs. Akbar knew that the task of consolidating and strengthening his empire would never be complete without the support and loyalty of the belligerent Rajputs of Rajasthan. He also understood the importance of Hindu-Muslim unity and cooperation in order to build an all-India empire. To build stronger relations with the Rajputs, he followed a policy of matrimonial alliance towards the Rajputs. His marriage to Harkhabai, popularly called Jodhabai, daughter of Raja Bharmal of Amber, Jaipur, secured for him the crucial support of the powerful ruler of Amber. He also formed matrimonial alliances with several other Rajput princesses. He assigned his posts to Rajput chiefs such as Raja Todarmal and Man Singh in the army and administration. He did not annex Rajput kingdoms that accepted his suzerainty and paid regular tributes. Following a policy of non-intervention in the internal matters of Rajput states, he abolished jizya and pilgrimage tax. Among all Rajput rulers of Rajasthan, Rana Uday Singh of Mewar did not accept the suzerainty of the Mughals and challenged Akbar. The Chittor fort was captured in 1567, forcing Rana Uday Singh to move out. Jaimal and Patta, the Rana's generals, continued to fight bravely, but were defeated. Rana Pratap, the son of Uday Singh, continued his father's zeal to safeguard his homeland. Though defeated in the Battle of Haldi Ghati in 1576, he never accepted Akbar's suzerainty till he breathed his last. The blend of Mughal and Rajput culture evolved during this period, providing the foundation for a strong and stable Mughal empire. Religious policy. Akbar's liberal approach towards religion was guided by an enthusiasm to unite the entire nation. He combined the best features of all the religions to come up with his own version of the ideal faith known as Deen-i Ilahi, which was an ethical code of conduct and laid emphasis on moral values of good conduct, piety, and compassion. It was viewed as a religious-cum-ideological path based on reason rather than tradition and on certain commonalities found in all religions. Its believers were more like a fraternity, and its main concerns were socio-political rather than overtly religious. All people at his court did not accept Akbar's religious path. Raja Birbal, a faithful follower of Akbar, accepted his religion, while Raja Man Singh disapproved of it. Akbar respected their feelings and did not insist that they should follow the new religion. Akbar believed in the policy of Sulh-i-Kul, which means universal peace or peace with all. He abolished many taxes that were earlier imposed on the non-Muslim subjects. The practice of forcible conversion of prisoners of war to Islam was stopped. Many intellectual and able Hindus were inducted into the nobility. In his eagerness to learn about different religions, Akbar built a hall of prayer at Fatehpur Sikri in 1575 known as the Ibadat Khana. At this place, he invited select mystics, intellectuals and theologians and held discussions on religious and spiritual themes. He invited teachers of various religions like the ulemas, pandits, Zoroastrians, Christians, and even atheists, or those who did not believe in the existence of God. They visited the Ibadat Khana and discussed their religious beliefs with him. The result of these discussions at the hall of prayer led him to the conclusion that all religions lead to the same goal. Jahangir, 1605–27 CE. Nuruddin Muhammad Jahangir, conqueror of the world, the eldest son of Akbar, succeeded him to the throne in 1605. He was born Salim. His father fondly called him Sheikhu Baba. He imprisoned his eldest son, Prince Khusro, who wanted to become the emperor. He brought an end to the 4-decade-long struggle with Mewar by defeating the Rana in 1615 CE. He also subdued Musa Khan and his 12 confederates known as Bara Bhuiya, who controlled Sonargaon in Bengal. A number of people from Europe visited his court. These included William Hawkins and Sir Thomas Roe, who visited his court with the aim of securing trade concessions. Following their visit, the English were granted permission to set up a factory at Surat. Jahangir's 20th and last wife, Noor Jahan, real name Meherunissa, was a talented, courageous and intelligent woman. She exercised considerable influence in royal affairs. She promoted her family members to important posts in the administration and struck coins in her name during the last years of Jahangir's reign. Around the same time, a struggle for power began between Noor Jahan and Jahangir's son, Prince Khurram, later Shah Jahan. Jahangir was deeply fascinated by art and architecture. He was a keen naturalist and bird watcher. His autobiography, Tazuki Jahangiri, is a vital source of information about his reign. It also records his detailed description of plants and animals. Shah Jahan, 1628 to 58 CE. Shah Jahan, the son of Jahangir, ascended the throne in 1628. His name in Persian means King of the World. Before ascending the throne, he was known as Prince Khurram. During his reign, the three major Deccan states of Bijapur, Golconda and Ahmednagar were subjugated. The Bundela Rajputs revolted during his reign, but they were dealt with effectively. The Padma Shahnama, Chronicle of the Emperor, is the official visual history of Shah Jahan's reign. It was authored by Abdul Hamid Lahori. The Shah Jahannama by Inayat Khan is another important work of the period. Shah Jahan ruled his empire with a firm hand and kept himself informed and updated about minute details of the administration and military campaigns. Agra, Lahore, Delhi and Ahmednagar were connected to trading activities through a network of roads. He took extensive interest in the growth of literature and art and gave sufficient encouragement to scholars, philosophers and artists. The grand and beautiful Taj Mahal at Agra was built during Shah Jahan's reign in the memory of his wife, Mumtaz Mahal. It stands out as one of the finest examples of Mughal art and architecture. When Shah Jahan grew old, a struggle for succession began among his sons Dara Shikoh, Shuja, Murad and Aurangzeb. At last, Aurangzeb emerged successful and occupied the throne in 1658. Thereafter, Shah Jahan was imprisoned by Aurangzeb at the Agra fort in 1658 and died in captivity in 1666. Aurangzeb, 1658 to 1707 CE. Aurangzeb ascended the throne in 1658 CE after winning the War of Succession against his three brothers. He ruled for almost 50 years and adopted the title Alamgir, conqueror of the world. During his reign, the Mughal Empire reached its zenith and covered almost the entire subcontinent. However, his reign also saw the revolts of many groups of people, including former allies such as the Rajputs, Jats, Bundelas and other communities like the Sikhs, Satnamis and Marathas. His toughest struggle was against the Marathas under Shivaji, leading to the foundation of an independent state by the Marathas. Aurangzeb's religious policy brought him in conflict with the ninth Sikh Guru, Tegh Bahadur, who was later executed. He also undertook a series of measures which were anti-Hindu in nature, like the reimposition of taxes payable by non-Muslims, jizyas, and destruction of temples. Aurangzeb is remembered in history as an orthodox, hard-working, and God-fearing ruler. Simplicity of the highest order defined his lifestyle so much so that he came to be regarded as a Zinda Peer or a living saint. The impact of many wars and revolts and Aurangzeb's involvement in the Deccan for a prolonged struggle against the Marathas under Shivaji weakened the empire. His death in 1707 marked virtually the end of the great Mughals. It was followed by a war of succession among his sons and a gradual weakening of the Mughal dynasty. Mughal administration. The administrative system under the Mughals, based on centralization of power in the hands of the monarch, is mainly attributed to Akbar. The Akbari, authored by Abul Fazl, provides a great deal of information about the system of administration as it existed during the period. Central administration. Centralization of authority was the key feature of the administrative structure of the Mughal Empire. According to this system, the provinces were ruled under a single centralized authority vested in the emperor. The emperor held absolute power, and all decisions of the state were carried out in his name. He was looked upon as the epitome of all authority. The emperor was also the commander-in-chief of the army and the chief authority in matters of justice. The nobles and other important officers in the empire owed their position to the emperor. System of governance. The central administrative machinery was based on the division of power among various departments, each under the charge of important ministers. The Diwan or Diwaniyala, the head of the revenue department, was responsible for all income and expenditure. He had to maintain an account of the financial position of the empire and submit the report to the king. The Central Revenue Department had several branches where a clerk, a secretary and a superintendent held their respective positions. The Mir Bakshi, the head of the military department and the intelligence agencies of the empire. He maintained records of the dag and chehra of the soldiers in the army and accompanied the emperor on hunting expeditions as well as on the battlefield. The Mir Saman was in charge of the royal workshops. He also provided all provisions and articles for the use of the royal household. He closely supervised the manufacture of various articles in the workshops. The chief Qazi headed the judicial department. This post at times was combined with that of the chief Sadr, who was responsible for all charitable and religious endowments. The chief Qazi looked after civil and criminal cases and was involved in the appointment of Qazis at the provincial and local levels. The Mir Adl was responsible for executing the orders of the court, while the Muhtasibs maintained public order and decorum. Provincial administration. The Mughal Empire was divided into small provinces or subas, governed by a subedar. He looked after the welfare of the people and was responsible for activities such as building wells, rest houses, roads, etc. Military affairs were looked after by the Mir Bakshi, while the Diwan headed the accounts department. The subas were further subdivided into sarkars or districts, which were under the control of the Faujdar, who looked after law and order. The Amal Guzar looked after assessment and collection of land revenue. The Thanidar were responsible for maintaining law and order in the empire and providing military supplies. The districts or sarkars were subdivided into parganas, which comprised villages. The Shikdar and the Amil at the pargana level and the Mukaddam and Patwari at the village level were the administrative officials. They were responsible for maintaining law and order and land records along with the collection of revenue. The Mansabdari system. In their endeavor to pay attention to the army and administration, the Mughals introduced a unique system of ranks and linked the same to local and land revenue administration. This unique system was referred to as the Mansabdari system. It was introduced by Akbar. Under this system, each officer known as a Mansabdar was given a rank or Mansab. A Mansabdar generally entered service at a low rank but rose higher through loyalty. It was a grading system used by the Mughals to fix the rank, salary and military responsibilities of the officer. The ranks were divided into Zat and Savar. Zat fixed the Mansabdar's personal status and salary. The higher the Zat, the more prestigious was the noble's position in the royal court, and he also drew a higher salary. The lowest rank was 10 and the highest was 5,000 for nobles. The Mansabdars received their own salaries in the form of revenue assignments called Jagirs. However, the Jagirs were not hereditary. So, the Mansabdars only enjoyed the right of revenue collection from the land assigned to them. The decline of the Mughal Empire. After the death of Aurangzeb, his successors, known as the later Mughals, were unable to hold the empire together. His death was followed by a war of succession among his sons. Bahadur Shah emerged victorious and ascended the throne in 1707 CE. Many provinces broke away from the empire and established themselves as independent kingdoms. During the reign of Muhammad Shah 1719 to 48, the empire began to break up, a process hastened by dynastic warfare, factional rivalries, and the Iranian conqueror Nadir Shah's brief but disruptive invasion of northern India in 1739. After the death of Muhammad Shah in 1748, the Marathas overran almost all of northern India. Mughal rule was reduced to only a small area around Delhi, which passed under Maratha 1785 and then British 1803 control. The last Mughal, Bahadur Shah II, was exiled to Yangon, Myanmar, Rangoon, Burma by the British after his involvement with the Indian Mutiny of 1857 to 58.